You're listening to Puma Podcast.
Hi, I'm Franco Luna Puma Podcast. This is Teka Teka Ted, the segment where we talk about all things law and governance in the Philippines. And at the helm of these episodes is...
Hi, I'm Atty. Ted. I'm a lawyer and a teacher of law, and I'm the host of TED Talks and Teka Teka Ted over Puma Podcast.
In this episode,
CPRA or CIPRA is no mere revision. It is an overhaul on the approach and attitude by lawyers of their ethical responsibility in the new era of law practice. An era of more attuned, more responsible, and more accountable legal practice.
let's talk about the new oath for Filipino lawyers and why it matters more than you might think.
While equality may appear to be a straightforward concept, it actually encompasses a nuanced understanding of our responsibilities. As lawyers, we are called upon to provide exceptional service to all with heightened vigilance when serving the vulnerable.
You just heard Supreme Court Chief Justice Alexander Gesmundo. He was talking about the Supreme Court's new Code of Professional Responsibility and Accountability, or CIPRA, which had been left untouched for 34 years. The 3,992 new lawyers who passed the bar exams were inducted into the legal profession earlier today, Tuesday, May 2. Along with the new code comes a new oath for lawyers.
For a time, a few of us have been bothered by the formulation of our current lawyer's oath. Besides being crafted in archaic language befitting Western colonizers, it did not track the ambitions of our present Constitution, which in turn was the result of the historic expression of our peoples in various revolutions, including the one in 1986.
Yan si Associate Justice Marvic Leonen. Think about what this new code means for a second. There's a new generation of lawyers coming in swearing under the new oath, but was taught the old one in law school. Himayin natin isa-isa. What do all these words mean?
I, Marvic Leonen, do solemnly swear that I accept the honor, privilege, duty, and responsibility of practicing law in the Philippines as an officer of the court in the interest of our people.
And I think this particular line makes it very, very clear what it means to be a lawyer. It is an honor, meaning it is not given to just anyone. It is a privilege, and that means it is not something that you can demand by right.
I declare fealty to the Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines. In so doing, I shall work towards promoting the rule of law in a regime of truth, justice, freedom, love, equality, and peace.
This one line matters most because it's the first time the lawyer's oath ever included the word justice. Here's what Atty. Ted had to say about it.
I think it updates the oath, which was written many years ago, was written under a different constitution. The preamble of the 1987 Constitution expressly says that the Constitution is ordained within a regime of the rule of law, a regime of truth, justice, freedom, love, equality, and peace. So, and again, similar to the previous line, I think it is logical, it is perfectly reasonable that a lawyer must be reminded that that is what the job means.
I shall conscientiously and courageously work for justice, as well as safeguard the rights and meaningful freedoms of all persons, identities, and communities. I shall ensure greater and equitable access to justice,
Attorney Ted says this one line is also particularly important because it opens up discussion on the culture in which the law practice and lawyers are immersed.
I think this particular portion of the oath makes it, again, very clear that the work of the lawyer is the work of justice, not just to file cases or to refrain from filing cases, not just to, earn money. The primary role is to work for justice and to ensure access to justice. And again, justice here does not mean just going to court. This just does not mean just filing cases. Justice here is giving a person what that person is entitled to. And if there is no law, there is no policy that allows that to happen, then the oath just tells lawyers they should work towards that.
I shall do no falsehood, nor shall I pervert the law to unjustly favor or prejudice anyone. I shall faithfully discharge these duties and responsibilities to the best of my ability, with integrity and utmost civility. I impose upon myself, without mental reservation nor purpose of evasion, for the believers, so help me God.
The idea of not doing any falsehood is there in the old oath, but not the idea of integrity, not the idea of civility. And therefore, those are new ideas that are in place in the oath. And again, if you go through the code, the updated code, it refers to ethics. It refers to integrity. It talks about the practice of the profession within the idea of integrity. It expressly says that an ethical lawyer is one who is possessed of integrity. And therefore, it is important that it starts with the oath, because the oath defines everything else that follows or should follow. And so the idea of integrity, of practicing law with integrity, is new, meaning it's the first time that it's appeared. Utmost civility as well, which governs, for example, how lawyers should deal with not just fellow lawyers, but with the public, with the clients, with the courts.
We're pausing for a quick break now. When we return, what was missing from the previous oath for the last 34 years?
Our present oath as lawyers also does not contain the expression of our most important duty, to do justice, or even to ensure access to justice. Our present oath is also silent about what distinguishes our profession when we do what we do: civility. Civility, even in times of adversarial conflict, is our guarantee of our understanding of humanity.
That's Associate Justice Marvic Leonen again. He was speaking at the launch of the Supreme Court's new Code of Professional Responsibility and Accountability. He's right. Access to justice is a completely different thing on its own. You don't have to look far to find cases of expensive lawyers winning high-profile cases in the country, for example. According to the World Justice Project, the Philippines has consistently scored poorly in the timeliness and impartiality of our criminal justice system. Even the Supreme Court agrees with this part of a lawyer's job. Here's Chief Justice Alexander Hesmundo again.
The role of lawyers in serving the public interest extends to ensuring access to justice by all, regardless of socio-economic status. This requires providing bono legal services when necessary, volunteering time and expertise to those in need, and advocating policies that address systemic barriers to legal representation.
Attorney Ted Te, a former Supreme Court spokesperson who's also with the Free Legal Assistance Group, questions just how seriously we take our oath. He says the culture in our law practice surprises a lot of young lawyers.
It's what they see around them. It's the culture, right? Lawyering is a profession that thrives on perception. People make choices as to which law firms, as to which kind of practice they want to join. based on their perception of how successful or how powerful, that practice will be.
He doesn't mince words. Many get into the line of work to get rich.
If young lawyers see, for example, that unethical conduct is rewarded rather than punished because people get away with it, people get rich because of it, then, there's no reason for them to consider the oath and the code seriously. No matter how nice the oath is, no matter how comprehensive the code is, they're not going to take it seriously because they don't see it, right? Many young lawyers don't get to that point that early on where they get to decide that this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. Not many lawyers get that. And so they get that by basically, getting into the culture, finding out for themselves while they're already there. And of course, while they're there, it's not very easy to get out. You find yourself in a very successful, profitable, powerful practice. And, it's counterintuitive for someone to say, I want to get out. I don't want this, right? It's counterintuitive, and people who have gotten out of that kind of practice, have been called, crazy, Why are you doing that? You already have that's a dream. That's a dream job, right? You're rich, you're successful, you're powerful, or your partners are, your law firm is.
Tete says even the way we teach our law ethics reflects just how seriously we take the oath. So how do we even begin to fix this?
It starts with education. I mean, look, lawyers take up the ethics of the profession in their first year, and then they take it up again to review for the bar. That's maybe 3 years or 4 years difference. Then when they take the bar, the ethics exam is only 5% of the bar. It shares a half day, with the practical exercises that lawyers are supposed to do. So out of the 5%, it's 2.5%. How do you expect to make ethical lawyers if you don't focus on teaching lawyers how to be ethical? You're 5 years as a lawyer, you're 10 years as a lawyer. Do you still believe in these things? Do you still believe in the oath? Because if you're not, then again, maybe it's time for you to take a step back, take a leave, don't practice yet. Because again, why would we need lawyers like that?
Attorney Ted says revising the oath is definitely a good first step to changing the way legal ethics are taught. But it's only a baby step in changing the entire culture of the legal practice in the Philippines. Here he is again with a message for incoming lawyers.
You are the product of your context, your reality. You are unique from everyone else. And so your experiences will define and form and shape who you are. Knowing who you are will allow you to understand how you make choices, what is important to you, what priorities you will put first. Knowing who you are will also help you define your values. The values that you will hold sacred, the values that will be ground zero for you as a lawyer. And so understanding your values will also help you understand your responsibilities, your burdens as a lawyer, some of which are spelled out in the oath. And understanding the oath will mean that you take the oath to heart, every word, and try to look for ways that you will live out that oath, the words of the oath, in your practice as well as in your daily life. Because in the end, if you want to become a good lawyer, if you want to become a great lawyer, you have to start with becoming a good person first.
And that was today's episode of Teka Teka News. Again, I'm Franco Luna. This episode was edited by Pidoy Blanco. If you like this episode, share it with a friend or two. And of course, don't forget to follow Teka Teka News and Puma Podcast on your favorite podcast app or on YouTube. Thanks for listening.